let's suppose that you want to have a function which adds any number of values together. So essentially what you want is you want to be able to call something like a sum up function and just feed it a couple of values. And you don't know in advance how many arguments you're going to provide. Now, how would you actually go about implementing sum up? And that's what we're going to take a look at. And this is actually possible through a functionality called var arg, which stands for variable number of arguments. So we'll have a function called sum up, which takes var arg values, all of type int, and obviously returns an int as well. What we're then going to do is we're going to add those values up. So I can do it the long way, which is var result equals 0, and then go for v in values, result plus equals v, and then return values like so. So this basically adds up any number of arguments. That should be result. There we go. Okay, so we now have a function which adds up any number of arguments, and we can actually use this in here. So I'm just going to print line the final result. Let's see what we get as a consequence of calling this. 3 plus 5, 8 plus 1, 9 plus 9, 18, and that's exactly what we get. Now, this is very convenient. Obviously, in this case, it was also completely meaningless, because what we could have done is we could have said return values.sum. There is a function called sum that you could have just used for this, but I want to show you yet another trick that you can do in addition to this. Now, as you may have guessed, when you have functions like array of, for example, or list of, these are all functions which take variable number of arguments. We can actually navigate to them, and finally the navigation works, and we can see that there is a list of, or a linked list of, with a var arg of type t. So essentially this functionality is used by Kotlin itself. But one very curious finding is that you can actually merge these lists. So let me give you an example. Let's suppose I have a let's say I have an array. For example, val stuff equals int array of, and I'll have some int values here, 1, 2, and 3. What I can then do is I can take this stuff from this array and use it as part of the array of values I'm feeding into the var arg function. So here I can take the entire contents of the array by saying star stuff. That's how you insert one into the other. And this essentially means that sum up is being called with the arguments 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 9. And if we execute this, here we go. We now get a value of 24. So that's an interesting observation of one of the cool things that Kotlin can help you do, in addition to just having variable number of arguments.